Hey guys, how we doing?
Welcome back, everybody.
Joe here.
Kevin.
Okay, so real quick, we want to address. I think some of you guys noticed in the last episode that Leo feels kind of out of character. I said on Patreon, I kind of agree with you in the sense after the fact, because he was a little harsher on CJ in the
Yeah.
last episode. I kind of took it at first as there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of pressure. Maybe he's just acting under pressure. We have seen that before.
Yeah. Didn't and again, that wasn't my focus as far as what I was
Sure.
preparing to talk about and
Yeah.
everything, but
It was subtle. I mean,
he did bring CJ into the office, though, right?
he did.
To like give her perspective to the president, which he didn't have to do. I agree. He was being a little bit totalitarian. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he's dealing with all of Josh's stuff
Sure.
right now. But I do respect the fact that he did take her in the office and say, "Here's your chance to say your piece to the president," so he gets everyone's perspectives.
Yeah.
It's not, it was nice not to see that Leo was trying to manipulate Bartlett into like, here's what I think, so that's what we should do. He's like, here's another perspective, even if he doesn't agree with it, he brought it to him.
Sure.
Which I really respected. So I didn't quite catch that like everyone else did.
And that's kind of why it went over my head the first time too.
Right.
It,
Yeah,
was,
absolutely.
it wasn't until you guys pointed it out that I was like, okay, I guess maybe it was. So I think it's a product of the new writing, which I don't think is bad, by the way. I just think that it's they're trying new things, they're going different directions.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at now. Like I mentioned before, we've wrapped up all of the Sorkin storylines,
Yep.
right? A couple of episodes in, and now like where are we headed? That's new because now the new showrunners, they have to come up with their own storylines, which is why going in I was like, well, now that Josh Molina, Will, right, is with the vice president, does he become a more adversarial figure? Because now it's all about getting the vice president elected. Because I kept thinking about when he got the dead guy elected, he is a great campaigner. Like, and he does not give an inch, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to campaigning. So what's that going to look like with him? Because I'm assuming, and of course things can change, that Bob is going to be the Democratic nominee for president in two seasons, just because of the time period the show came out, right?
Yeah.
Because when the show came out, the previous two, right, we had George Herbert Walker Bush became the nominee after being vice president for Reagan, and then we had around here, right, Al Gore become the nominee after being vice president for Clinton.
Yeah.
So that had been kind of the precedent, and so I'm like, well, then that's probably what they're going to go with here because it always kind of mirrors what's happening at the time.
Yeah.
So I assume that it's going to be Bob Russell. I of course forever assumed it was going to be like Tim Matheson. I thought
we both did.
I thought season 7 was going to like this is going to be where they really get to use Tim Matheson a lot because he'll be the nominee.
Yeah.
And now he's off the show. So I mean anything can happen. The show is not predictable. But from where it sits right now,
yeah. It looks like Bob might be the guy.
It looks like Bob's going to be the guy, and Will's so talented. But I wonder if Will's going to have the moment that Josh did in season 1, right? Where it's like, I'm doing a good job trying to get you elected. I can get you elected.
Yeah.
But you're not the right guy, so I'm bailing.
It doesn't look like it right now.
It doesn't. That's what I'm saying, right?
Last episode,
but I mean, we
have 2 seasons,
right? We have like 50 episodes left. There's plenty left.
I'm expecting a huge arc for Bob.
Are you? I was until the last episode when he said that. What was the word that he used?
I can't remember. It was wrong.
Yeah.
It tipped my tongue, but still,
he used a non-word.
I think
in congressional.
I think we're gonna get just because it's still new. He's only been in 4 episodes so far.
Yeah, he hasn't been on
with 2 more seasons left. I really hope he shows up. If he doesn't, cool. I'll take whatever the show can give me. But right now, I'm guessing he's going to have his own moment where he has to come, face the music and like really step up. We'll see.
He might step up, but I think that they let us know pretty hard in the last episode. No.
You think it's definitive? Like he's like
this guy. Yeah. Well, he's dumb. No matter what, this guy is dumb. He may be a good politician. He may be likable. He can do a lot of things that might get him close to being elected, but he's actually stupid. And I feel like in the world of this show, that's a sin. You know what I mean?
It really is.
This is a big important job that for the entire show, it's been a job about smart versus not smart, right? We saw in the Ritchie election.
Yeah.
And Bob Russell is not smart. And I don't think that this show's, unless the show ends on a dark note, I don't see how the show ends on everybody working really hard to get a guy elected who really shouldn't be there.
I guess the optimist in me was kind of hoping that Bob would have some sort of come to Jesus moment.
He might have
smarten up a little bit, but
well, I mean, he might have a moment where he's a good guy, where he gets something done really well.
I'm not saying he's a bad
I don't think he's a bad guy, and he might rise to the occasion on something. But overall, they're letting us know he is just not smart.
Yeah,
which I don't think is okay on the show.
Sure,
we don't have people on the show that's like, you're genuinely stupid, but we're going to let you be the successful guy.
I hope they do something with that, because 2 seasons of him being an idiot would just get kind of old,
Yeah, and I don't know how much we'll actually see of him. I think we'll see more of Will representing him, more than we'll see him.
Much
probably.
more than Tim Matheson, probably.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because you can have Will over any number of times. It's just for me, I'm still not sure what they're going to do with how Will's going to work.
Sure.
And I think it's going to be, I'm going to get Bob close to elected. I'm going to be there for Bob because he works for him.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's such a weird shift to take Will out of the West Wing.
It is.
But I mean, we'll see.
We shall see.
Okay. I thought Will was going to be adversarial right from the beginning, and he was great in the last episode. He did.
Fantastic,
he did exactly what the White House needed of him.
He did.
So I was wrong. Sorry. It's going to happen a lot. We do want to go and thank all of our Patreon subscribers for being here. Give a special shout out to Factual Lurker, Balas Foldes, Chris, Jeff, Christy Goverston, NJ, Surya Gundavarapu, and Weird Magic. Thanks so much, guys. We're happy you're here with us.
Yes, we are.
Hiccup, sorry.
And if you're watching us on YouTube for the first time, welcome to our channel. If you might hit the like button for us, leave us a comment down below, and please hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on the new content we've coming your way.
If you'd like to see a full-length reaction to this and everything else we've watched or watching, please check out the link in the description below to our Patreon page. And every show, including The West Wing, we're at least 4 episodes ahead on Patreon of where we're on YouTube. So if you'd like to keep going after watching the YouTube edits here, you can do it on our Patreon page. You will have to sync and watch along on your own source material. You're only going to see us for copyright purposes. We're also watching 30 Rock right now as a Patreon exclusive.
And there's a reason Korematsu's never been overturned.
Okay, you're defending Japanese internment?
I didn't realize the Supreme Court ruled the Japanese internment okie dokie.
Right.
Matt?
Oh, no.
Sir?
I have to do this site.
Is this the guy that was writing in poetry?
I think it is. Is he having a stroke?
Because they said he was getting really old. Someone,
yeah, come on.
Call an ambulance. It was clear.
A believer in the irreducible power of the law to shape our society.
Okay, but I gotta be careful about saying man.
Why? Oh, come on.
You'd be surprised, I get letters.
Are we talking about possible replacements for Ashland yet?
Grandin, Keith, and Toland? No, we're not talking about it. We're going to appoint a new Chief Justice.
Yeah, that's true.
Breathe new life into the Constitution. You know how
He was
rare
pretty
that is? The
excited
last
when they
5
did
guys didn't get
Mendoza.
to do it.
Yeah.
Buffalo Bob's not going to pick the next Chief Justice.
Neither's the president. Ashland regained consciousness. Seems it was only exhaustion, and his doctors say he'll make a full recovery.
Well, that ruins Toby's day.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yep.
Bartram from the Times called.
About what?
Budget stalemate.
I don't know anything.
That's what I told him. What happens if we don't get a budget deal?
Get another continuing resolution.
How come people aren't outraged? The rest of the country can't take endless amounts of time to finish their work.
Well, you're forgetting the beauty of the federal budget process.
What's that?
No one understands it.
CNN said it was exhaustion.
Yeah.
So how do we know he's not?
We don't.
So they don't really know what's going on in there.
For sure.
But what happens if we wait until he's senile or ends up in a coma? Then what? Chief Justice won't take the president's calls. Maybe we need to send someone over there?
What, just show up with a bunch of balloons and some peanut brittle?
It's time to get Ashland off the bench, Leo.
Excuse me, sir, if I may, this Diane Mathers interview.
You still have a problem?
Yes, I do. I've been
Abby
making
thinks
some
it'll be fine. Roy was a great friend, a great man.
He's not dead.
Maybe.
The Speaker will only give us the college tuition tax deduction if we reduce capital gains taxes by 50%. But if we offer to drop deductible tuition, I think we can get them to drop cap gains and leave our stimulus.
Excuse me? Josh? You just gonna sit there?
You gotta trust the person in the room.
No, Josh is listening to Leo. He's taking it.
He is. He has to.
Charlie got a phone call from one of Mather's producers. They've got his statement to the Secret Service about Zoe considering taking the ecstasy, and I think they might have Jean-Paul telling his side of the story.
So I'm back to wanting to punch John Paul in the face.
I thought we were done with John Paul.
Me too, but nope.
The chief, do you think we should try to...
Yeah. It's time.
Thank you, sir.
Talk him into retiring now.
Mm-hmm.
Do it delicately.
Yeah, for sure.
The Chief Justice. The president knows it's time.
Hey, Toby.
Hey, he's back.
Good. You?
Fine.
You used to clerk for the Chief Justice?
I can't do it, Toby. I'm sorry.
You haven't even heard what I'm going to say.
You want me to do the approach about getting him to resign? The White House can't be seen as pressuring a Supreme Court justice to change his breakfast order, let alone resign. Separation of powers.
I see.
We need one more scene with this guy because I'm like, if it actually was exhaustion,
Move it to Bermuda Corporation gets a deduction when they buy up their CEO for $100 million. Why not pass a break for guys like Matt?
I don't like Angela right now.
I've been mixed on her character, and I'm not sure what her end game is.
I think our side's done a bad job explaining why what we're fighting for is important.
Every year, he likes to hire a conservative clerk to argue with. And arguing with him helped me clarify the things I believe in. To the hospital?
He'll see you. You tell me he's okay, and I'll call off the vultures.
I mean, I think you'd want to see him, but I mean, I understand both of their perspectives. They're both right.
Yeah. That's what this episode's gonna be complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not exhaustion.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
So he's all right?
You guys. You think it's all a game. He's fine, Toby. He was up.
Oh, Joe.
Joking.
He just doesn't want to play the game.
Gotcha.
I respect it.
I thought he was being sarcastic there for a second.
He's why a cop has to read a criminal his rights. He's why a couple of mixed race can get married in the state of Texas. He was unconscious last night. Never came out of it. Never said a word.
Zoe, we need to take a moment and talk about that night at the club with Jean-Paul. Had you agreed to take drugs?
No, he slipped it because he's a monster.
Yeah.
And should be rotting in jail.
I was drugged.
We had a bit of a breakdown. If breakdown is the word.
Capital gains cut.
They came back and said it was not negotiable. They even want to make it bigger. They're not willing to continue funding at the current level. They want a 1% cut on everything but defense and homeland security.
How could this happen?
Josh.
I don't like this Halfley guy.
I mean, I don't know.
We didn't when he forced Bob Russell on it. Now I hate him for this too.
Mr. Quincy.
He's cogent.
It's just a social visit.
No.
No, sir, it's not.
We gave away college tuition for nothing.
Good work on the Chief Justice.
I think they did it to balance capital gains, and the capital gains didn't work.
Yeah.
But what happened that night at the club with Jean-Paul and the ecstasy?
Live with the shame and self-doubt that comes from having trusted someone who then betrayed you.
Good answer.
Yeah.
We get newspapers up here,
going on?
CJ. You don't have to apologize for him not coming. I asked him not to.
I'm glad to see you doing so well, sir.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Who would you get to replace me?
I'd hope to consult with you.
Marshall,
That's
John,
funny.
or Thurgood, either one. I want Brandeis, Blackman. I am better than the amped-up ambulance chasers you could get confirmed by the Senate.
I respect that. I really do.
The Speaker's running the table, and I can't take a chance.
To include a reduction by 1%.
Excuse me, Mr. President, I'm sorry. There's been a change. It's going to have to be 3.
Wow. Are you kidding?
He is bold.
Why?
I'm sorry we couldn't get more notice.
Because he thinks
but we
he can
just
get
came
it.
from our conference, and I had significant opposition to only 1%.
In 2 months, 5%? 50? How many rounds do we go, Jeff?
But this government runs out of money at midnight, and my guys have gone home. This is it.
He's gonna give a fuck.
You have to.
Yeah.
Or you have a government shutdown, which would be cool too on the show.
Yeah.
Not in the real world.
Oh, okay. Wow. There you go.
Then shut it down.
Dang.
It's definitely happened in our lifetimes.
It has, yeah.
Okay, I like
No
that as
mail.
I like that as an ending.
It was a great ending, actually. I like the way they did the cuts.
Right. There are always essential services that still keep going. A lot of services that don't. People don't get their paychecks. They usually get back pay after it gets passed. But yeah, we've done government shutdowns over stupidity before.
For sure.
And it looks like we're gonna, we should have known it was coming, right? Because this show, as you mentioned last time, right, covers everything. We, over the 5 seasons we've had, and I'm assuming over the next 2 plus, we get, they kind of run the gamut of what happens in politics and what that looks like. It's a show that educates the public about how the American government works, the system government works, and a shutdown is part of it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it really is.
It's not one-sided either. Obviously, Joe's in this episode. You get the perspective of both parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I never really thought about doing a government shutdown.
I didn't either. I certainly didn't think it was coming here.
Nice reveal.
Yeah.
Obviously, not nice in this universe right here, but
but it looks like we're going to get to see that in action, which I think is really cool. And it's not a delay, right? It's not like you have to vote by this date. It's tonight. We are at the end. So yeah, we get to kind of see what that looks like. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm assuming the whole cast is still going to be here because their jobs are probably considered essential. But I mean, millions of people are basically not getting paid now.
I was going to say Donna. Yeah, Donna would be there too, I guess. Yeah,
I'm assuming everybody
for sure. Yeah,
I mean, the government's the executive branch still has to run, but things like park rangers and a lot of people. There's millions of federal employees that aren't getting paid, and millions of federal services that aren't going to get done.
How long did this last for? Episode or 2?
I don't know. It could be 1. It could be like, or this could be a game of chicken that goes on for a while.
Well,
and that's essentially what this was, right?
Yeah.
It was a guy came in. He's like, we got him to say 1. Fine, I bet I can get him to say 3, because it's just like how we'll push and push and push and push, and we'll always get our way until they didn't, which he clearly did not see coming. And I don't like that guy. I haven't liked that guy the couple times we've seen him.
Yeah.
I think he's a really bad faith actor. As a politician.
Sure.
There are plenty of those in real life.
For sure.
And I'm kind of glad that in the fictional world that, the president's like, I'm calling your bluff. Obviously not bluffing this going to be shut down, but it's going to be a standoff for, you're right, episode 2, 3, I don't know.
And I like that this is the writers being like, okay, this is our first arc.
Right. Let's get something new.
Solely ours.
Right.
And I want to see how they handle this. I think this is going to be really exciting.
Yeah. And I'm going to go ahead out on a dumb limb here and say that I feel like this is Josh's chance to shine.
Sure.
And that maybe whatever happens to unlock the gridlock, to get everyone back to the negotiating table, to get a deal done, I think Josh is going to be a big cog in, if not the big cog, because we've got to get Josh off the sidelines, right?
And I think it's going to be this season for sure.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're not going to have
no
15 episodes of a shutdown.
What I mean that is, I think it's going to be in the next few episodes, because there's no way we spend the rest of season 5 with Josh on the sidelines, right?
I wouldn't think so.
Exactly. And so yeah, maybe 4 or 5 episodes from now, even 2 or 3.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I don't know how long you can make a government shutdown interesting. It might be an episode or 2. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, because you don't want to. After a while, people are like, "We get it.
The government's not working. No one's working right now."
So, yeah, this was fantastic as always.
Yeah, really good twists.
I like the tone of season 5. I really do. Each episode is not worked out the way they kind of thought it was going to.
And I'm glad we got Joe Quimby back, which I assumed after his 2-episode arc in season 4 we were done with him.
Yeah,
and I'm really glad to see that he's back.
I'm impressed with Matthew Perry's acting. I think he's really nailing this role. He's knocking it out of the park. I certainly haven't seen him in anything this serious. I don't think I've seen him in a serious role.
He usually does comedy. He was obviously a big rom-com guy after Friends ended.
Whole 9 yards on.
Right. What's the one with Selma Hayek that he did where he got her pregnant?
I don't know.
It was named after an Elvis song. I think it was Fools Rush In. I think Fools
okay. Cool.
I think I saw that on a date when I was very, very young.
Also, I've never seen 13 Days. Is that a good watch?
Yeah. It's really good.
Okay.
Costner put it together and got it made.
Bruce Greenwood in that movie?
Yeah, he's JFK.
Okay.
And true story, the worst performance in the movie is Kevin Costner. And it's not even close. It's just he was outside of his comfort zone.
Dang.
He was trying to pull off a Boston accent, which he did not do.
Wobby.
It was, yeah. And it's like, hey, good job on producing and getting the funding together and getting this movie made.
Yeah.
You should not have been in it too.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe you couldn't have gotten the money without him being in it.
At least he can hold a camera on his face, right?
And I think Costner. I think Costner is an underappreciated actor. I do think he's a real talent. It just wasn't the right role for him.
Sure.
But at any rate, yeah, I like the direction of the episode. I don't know how much more Angela Blake we're going to get, but I really feel like Josh is going to have to be the one to step in and save the day.
They're setting that up for sure.
Right. And I don't think she is,
malicious or just,
no, I feel like Josh and Toby were kind of putting the blame on her.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's just because it's the new person in the room. It's
I was just gonna say
it's Anchorman. You're not Ron.
Yeah.
It's just that. Whereas like probably anybody in the room
take
in that
your
role.
frustrations out on the new person. There,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. And she's the one in the room. I feel like if Josh had been in the room at the same time, he might have. This Halfley guy sucks. It might have been exactly the same results.
Could have been.
I think the only thing they are saying that I do agree with is she clearly didn't care enough about or as much about the college tuition cuts, the tax break. And so she didn't fight for it at all. So that one ended up getting washed away for absolutely nothing.
Sure.
Other than the fact that she just didn't want it or didn't care about it.
They campaigned on it too.
Right.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Sure. So she didn't have any buy-in on that. So I understand the frustration on that one.
Yeah.
But like the 1% and the capital gains and all that, that's not on her.
No.
That's on Halfley. That's on on the Republican leadership here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us, guys. I'm really looking forward to the next one because it feels like we're keeping these arcs going.
We are.
See you later.